The ledger does not lie. Math is the only language that has no dialect. It has no political party. It has no bias. And right now, the math of the global supply chain is screaming a warning that the news anchors are too afraid to read. We are witnessing the end of an era, not the end of a business cycle, but the end of the physical ability to move cheap goods across the planet. They told you globalization was permanent. They told you the shelves would always be full. They told you that just-in-time delivery was a miracle of modern economics. They lied. It was not a miracle. It was a leverage bet. A bet that required perfect peace, perfect weather, and cheap oil. All three of those pillars have just collapsed at the exact same moment. In 1956, the Suez Crisis proved that a single choke point could bring the greatest empires on earth to their knees. It forced the British pound into a devaluation that destroyed the savings of millions of retirees. It reshaped the geopolitical map overnight. Today, the geometry of that disaster has returned, but this time, it is not just a political dispute. It is a structural failure of the maritime circulatory system. We have received intelligence regarding the fate of a specific titan of the sea, one of the massive vessels that connects the factories of the East to the consumers of the West, a ship that was supposed to be the backbone of your holiday shopping, the backbone of your car parts, the backbone of your medical supplies. It has not been delayed. It has not been rerouted. It has been erased. The data confirms that this vessel, a victim of the kinetic activity in the shipping lanes, has been sent to the scrapyards of Dubai. Think about the gravity of that statement. A modern container ship worth hundreds of millions of dollars, capable of carrying thousands of tons of goods, is being cut into razor blades. Not because it was old, but because the cost of repairing it and the cost of insuring it is now mathematically impossible. This is the canary in the coal mine. But the canary is the size of a skyscraper, and it just died. The media will treat this as an isolated incident. They will tell you it is just one ship. Do not listen to them. They are trying to keep you calm while the water rises. This is not about one ship. This is about the death of the risk model that built the modern world. For 50 years, we lived in a fantasy where shipping was free, where you could order a plastic toy from Shanghai and have it on your porch in Chicago for pennies. That world relied on a hidden subsidy, the subsidy of American naval dominance and insurance stability. That subsidy is gone. The insurance giants in London are not charities. They are actuaries. They look at the missiles flying in the Red Sea. They look at the tensions in the Taiwan Strait. They look at the breakdown of the Atlantic Alliance, and they are doing the only thing the math allows them to do. They are pulling the plug. When a ship is scrapped because it is too dangerous to sail, it means the route it sailed is effectively closed. It means the goods it carried are now stranded. And it means the price of everything you touch is about to undergo a violent repricing. Let me explain what this means for your kitchen table. This is not high finance. This is survival physics. When the cost of shipping doubles, the price of grain does not just double, it triples. Because the margins in the food industry are razor thin. When the cost of transport rises, the farmers cannot buy fertilizer. The processors cannot buy packaging. And the stores cannot stock the shelves. We are staring at a cost-push inflation spiral that no interest rate hike can fix. Jerome Powell cannot print a container ship. The European Central Bank cannot print a safe passage through the Red Sea. They can only print paper. And paper does not float. Paper does not stop a hypersonic missile. The physics of the supply chain are asserting their dominance over the theories of the economists. And the scary part is, the insiders know this. While they tell you on television that inflation is coming down, they are quietly dismantling the infrastructure of global trade. They are moving from a just-in-time model to a just-in-case model. But just-in-case requires inventory. It requires warehouses It requires capital, and capital has never been more expensive. You have to understand the trap. The global economy is a bathtub. For 40 years, the water flowed in from the faucet of cheap Asian production, and it drained out through the drain of Western consumption. Now, the faucet is being turned off. China has implemented export controls on strategic metals. We have seen the documents. The restrictions on silver exports are not a policy tweak. They are an act of economic warfare. They are keeping the silver because they know what is coming. They know that in a world where supply chains shatter, the only wealth that matters is the wealth you can hold in your hand. They are keeping the copper, they are keeping the rare earths, and now they are watching the ships that used to carry those treasures being turned into scrap metal in the desert. It is a message, a loud, violent, silent message. The era of abundance is over. The era of scarcity has begun. Consider the Maersk announcement. They claim they are returning to the Suez Canal. They phrase it as a return to normalcy. But read the fine print. Look at the surcharges. Look at the insurance clauses. They are not returning because it is safe. They are returning because the alternative is bankruptcy. Going around Africa takes too long. It burns too much fuel. It ties up too much capital. So they are forced to sail into the kill zone. They are playing Russian roulette with your supply chain. And the gun is fully loaded. Every time a ship enters those waters, your standard of living is on the line. If another ship is hit, if another hull is breached, the insurance markets will lock up completely. And when the insurance stops, the ships stop. And when the ships stop, you stop. You stop eating what you want. You stop driving where you want. You stop heating your home the way you want. This is the fragility of the system they built. They traded resilience for efficiency. And now we are paying the price. The scrap ship in Dubai is a tombstone. It marks the grave of the deflating price of goods. From this point forward, the trajectory is vertical, not because the demand is soaring, but because the supply is being murdered. We are also seeing signals from the bond market that confirm this fear. The smart money is fleeing the debt of Western governments. Why? Because governments rely on tax revenue from commerce to pay their debts. If commerce slows down, tax revenue collapses. And if tax revenue collapses, they have to print the difference. We are back to the binary choice. The establishment has two doors. Door number one is a deflationary collapse where trade stops and banks fail. Door number two is a hyperinflationary melt-up where they print money to subsidize the shipping companies and the insurers. History tells us which door they will open. They will choose inflation. They will choose to destroy the currency to save the system. They will bail out the shipping lines. They will subsidize the insurance premiums. And they will pay for it by diluting the value of the dollars in your savings account. They will turn your hard-earned money into confetti to keep the phantom of global trade alive for just a few more months. This is why we see gold hitting $4,689. This is why silver is smashing through $94. The market is sniffing out the devaluation. The market knows that the only way to keep goods moving on dangerous seas is to devalue the currency that pays for them. The price of silver is not rising. The value of the fiat currency is imploding against the reality of physical risk. Silver is the antidote to this poison. Think about it. Silver does not need a ship to have value. Silver does not need an insurance policy to be wealth. Silver does not need a politician to sign a treaty to be money. It is an element. It is a fact of nature. It is the only asset that has no counterparty risk in a world where every counterparty is going broke. The scraping of that ship is a physical reduction in the world's capacity to function. It represents a permanent loss of capital. And who pays for that loss? You do. You pay for it at the gas pump. You pay for it at the grocery store. You pay for it in the form of shrinkflation. Have you noticed the boxes getting smaller? Have you noticed the air inside the bag of chips getting expanding? That is the sound of the supply chain dying. That is the sound of companies trying to hide the inflation that the scrap ships are causing. But they can only hide it for so long. Eventually, the physics takes over. Eventually, you reach the breaking point where the shelf is simply empty. We are hearing reports from the pharmaceutical sector. Active ingredients that are sourced from the East are running low. The just-in-time inventory for critical antibiotics is measured in weeks, not months. If the shipping lanes close, or if the cost becomes prohibitive, we are not talking about expensive TVs. We are talking about a health crisis. We are talking about a breakdown of the social contract. The government promised to keep you safe, but they cannot protect the trade routes. They promise to keep you prosperous, but they cannot stop the inflation. They promise to keep the system stable, but they are watching it rust in a scrapyard in Dubai. This is the betrayal. They spent decades outsourcing our industrial base. They moved the factories to the other side of the world to save a few pennies. And now the bridge to those factories is burning. And we are trapped on the island of consumption with no production. This is why the BRICS nations are moving to their own currency. They see the weakness. They see that the Western control of the oceans is a myth. India proposing a digital currency linked to the BRICS bloc is not a coincidence. It is a preparation for the post-dollar world, a world where trade happens on land or on short sea routes that the West cannot interdict. They are building a fortress. While we are scrapping our ships, the contrast could not be more stark. The East is hoarding gold, hoarding silver, hoarding grain, and building new trade corridors. The West is printing money, fighting internal trade wars, and watching its infrastructure decay. You have to ask yourself a question, a hard question. Do you trust the people who built this fragile system to fix it? Do you trust the central bankers who told you inflation was transitory? Do you trust the politicians who are more interested in tariff wars with allies than in securing the supply lines? If the answer is no, then you need to act. You need to become your own central bank. You need to become your own supply chain. You cannot rely on the container ship to bring you what you need. You must have what you need already under your roof. This means food. This means water. This means medicine. And above all, this means real money. Silver is the most undervalued asset in history right now. It is essential for the very technologies they claim will save us. Solar panels need silver. Electric vehicles need silver. Electronics need silver. But the ships that bring the silver are being scrapped, and the mines that produce the silver are facing legal battles that double their costs. The supply is being squeezed from both ends. The mine cannot produce it cheaply, and the ship cannot move it safely. This is the perfect storm. This is the thermodynamic guarantee of a price explosion. When the paper market for silver breaks, and it is breaking right now with the spread widening to $13 in Shanghai, it will be like a dam bursting. All the suppressed energy of decades of manipulation will be released at once. Those who hold paper contracts will get nothing. They will get a force majeure notice, a legal letter telling them that due to unforeseen circumstances, their contract is being settled in cash. But the cash will be worthless because by then, the inflation will be vertical. Those who hold physical silver will be the only ones left standing. They will be the ones who can command purchasing power in a world of scarcity. It is not about getting rich. It is about not becoming a casualty. The scraping of the ship is a warning shot. It is the sound of the steel door slamming shut on the era of easy living. You have a brief window of time, a window that is closing every time a new missile is fired, a window that is closing every time a new tariff is threatened, a window that is closing every time the price of gold ticks up another dollar. Do not waste this time. Do not sit in front of the television and wait for them to tell you it is okay. It is not okay. The mechanism is broken. The gears are grinding to a halt. Look at your grocery bill. Is it telling you the truth, or is the government CPI number telling you the truth? You know the answer. Your wallet feels the pain that the news refuses to report. The pain is the signal. The pain is the math trying to wake you up. The system is defaulting. It is defaulting on its promise to provide cheap goods. It is defaulting on its promise to provide a stable currency. And soon, it will default on its promise to provide a pension. Because the pension funds are invested in the very companies that are scrapping their ships. They are invested in the illusion of perpetual growth. But we are in a period of contraction, a period of deglobalization, a period of survival. So what do? You simplify, you secure, you withdraw, you take your labor and you store it in silver. You take your security and you store it in your pantry. You take your trust and you place it in your family, not in the state, not in the corporation, not in the bank. The bank is a digital hallucination. The ship is a rusting hulk. The silver is eternal. It has survived the fall of Rome. It has survived the fall of the Spanish Empire. It has survived the fall of the British pound. And it will survive the fall of the dollar-based supply chain. The ship in Dubai is gone. It is gone forever. Do not let your future go with it. The water is rising. The boat is leaking. And the captain is lying. Do not despair. Prepare. You are the safety. History is not just something you read. It is something you live through. And right now, we are living through the chapter that future historians will call the Great Unraveling. Make sure you are on the right side of the page. Make sure you are not the one waiting for a ship that will never arrive. The ledger is balancing itself, and it is balancing itself in favor of the real and against the fake. Be real, hold real, survive.